Hello and welcome to IB Times TV. I'm Sally Turner, joined here today with reporter Christopher Harris to discuss the rise and fall of Fordlandia. Okay, Chris, Fordlandia was a place created by automaker Henry Ford to produce rubber, but why the Amazon and why did it fail?
Well, basically Henry Ford, as most people know, is this great industrialist. He was the father of the automobile. He more or less revolutionized the American workplace. And for all of these cars, he needed, of course, rubber for the tires, which he was importing from Malaysia, which was basically owned by the British. And Ford was an efficient guy. You know, he was able to make a lot of money in his time by being efficient, and because of that, he wanted to basically get his own rubber. So the nearest place to Detroit to get rubber, or Michigan where Ford was the Amazon rainforest. So he went down there in the sort of late 20s and tried to set up a plantation and a city or a town.
It's a bizarre concept, kind of creating a community, but he did kind of base it on the American way of life. Was perhaps the reason there was so much discontent with the employees because of that?
Certainly. Ford tried to bring America to the Amazon jungle. In one respect, he was doing it for business ideas, that he wanted to get his own rubber, but there was something else that was at work there, and it was that Ford was discontented with the way America had turned out. He'd introduced consumerism, which then bred to capitalism, and he noticed that America was changing. So in some ways, this town of Fordlandia was sort of him trying to recreate America the way he always imagined it. And Fordlandia had clapboard houses, it had like white picket fences, it had pristine gardens, paved roads, electric lights, very advanced sewer systems. I mean, he basically took a little piece of America and placed it in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. The workers that he employed, they weren't allowed to drink alcohol, smoke tobacco, they weren't allowed women in their homes. He forced them to eat hamburgers and hot dogs and things like this, and he really just forced this American way of life on them. And for sure, you know, think about the Amazonian rainforest in 1928 and the indigenous population that lived there. They weren't prepared for that. And one thing about Fordism was that you give people money, your workers get money, and the idea is that they spend money on your product. And that's how Ford basically reinvented the middle class. But one thing he didn't think about was that in the Amazon rainforest there's nothing to buy, so when those workers were paid, they would go off, so staff turnover was huge, and the whole project really just fell apart.
Henry Ford eventually did order the site to be abandoned. So what does that say about the automotive industry and him himself as a leader?
Well, Henry Ford was a great leader, and the fact that he was able to take on the Amazon rainforest says a lot about how bold he was, and I think that was really just a one-off, because I mean there's a lot of things about Ford that aren't fantastic, and a lot of people didn't like him, but in terms of being a leader and an industrialist, he was a genius. But in terms of the automotive industry and why Fordlandia failed, well, by 1945 synthetic rubber had been created, and the venture, you know, it wasn't necessary anymore, and the investment became a dud.
It was built in the 20s, it's 2013 now, so what does Fordlandia look like?
Fordlandia is still there, almost frozen in time. Everything's still there. There's still electric lamp lighting, there's still roads, there's even still Ford cars down there. The houses are still there, and what it has become is just a small jungle community that still looks like a little bit of America, but Ford don't have anything to do with it anymore. They sold it in 1945 for just a token sum of $250,000 after losing about $20 million, and that's $200 million in today's money. So yeah, Fordlandia continues, and it's become a bit of a tourist destination for people visiting Brazil, and yeah, it's just a little town in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. It takes 28 hours to get to. So
there's no plans to kind of clear it out, get rid of it, restore the kind of Amazon community that was there before?
Well, I mean, you know, that's the nature of the Amazon rainforest, is that it has already eventually just consumed Fordlandia. Again, the buildings still exist, but the rainforest is encroached now and taken back what used to be Mother Nature's, if you like.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.